Naruto's life is one of the greatest come-up stories in Shonen, and it all begins from the night of his birth, where plans made years beforehand were finally put into motion. We all know the story of that tragic night and its terrible consequences, both immediate and far-reaching. Thousands of deaths, Naruto's lonesome childhood, years of distrust and division between the village and the Uchiha clan, their massacre, Itachi's sacrifice, Konoha's destruction, and so much more. Events fated to happen and long since in the past, but what would happen if a wrench was thrown into fate's plans? What if Naruto, fully realized and in his prime as the 7th Hokage of Konoha, was given the chance to save his parents and change the events of that night? Just weeks after being sworn in as Hokage, our hero's already swamped with paperwork, feeling his will to live slip with every sheet of paper he reviews. Coincidentally, he's brought his young son, Boruto, to the office with him this day, since Hinata and Himawari are at a Hyuga clan gathering, and Boruto didn't want to go. So, between being as adventurous of a child as his dad once was, and Naruto's IQ being sapped by his paperwork, Boruto slips away to explore the Hokage Tower without being noticed. Now, you know how Naruto's got insane sensory abilities thanks to Kurama's Chakra and his Senjutsu training? And Hinata's a Hyuga with one of the strongest Byakugan in the clan's history? Well, that translates to Boruto having a really strong sensitivity to chakra flows as a kid, before he learns to control it. Because of this, and the fact that he's already trying to scour every inch of the building, he comes across a really faint, but very strange feeling presence behind what looks like an ordinary wall in the tower's basement. Instantly excited by the possibility of finally finding something cool, he starts fiddling around all over the wall until he scratches his hand on a particularly sharp-edged brick that's jutting out a bit. The moment his blood drips out his palm and onto that brick, though, the wall lights up with an array of glowing seals. Before his eyes, the wall slides out of the way to reveal a secret chamber, covered from wall to wall with glowing seals and symbols, with a single central circle in the middle of the room. Unknown to anyone still alive, this chamber was prepared by the 2nd Hokage, famous for his invention of forbidden jutsus. Towards the end of his life, he finally managed to perfect his greatest project, a time travel jutsu, half out of academic curiosity over if it was even possible, and half as a last resort emergency option if the village ever ended up in an unrecoverable position. He sunk years of research into this one jutsu. The only problem is, it required such an ungodly amount of chakra to activate and maintain that it was deemed impossible to use and left sealed away in the bowels of the Hokage Tower, with a security seal placed on it so only one with Senju blood could ever access it. You know what clan's related to the Senju just closely enough for their blood to work for that? Boruto's Uzumaki blood's enough to open up that lock, and as he steps inside the room, the cleanly woven together meshwork of Ninjutsu and Fuinjutsu that Tobirama created flares to life. Driven by wonder and curiosity, Boruto moves over to that central circle, and just like that, the jutsu begins to activate, and in doing so, starts draining the child of his chakra. Meanwhile, up in the Hokage's office, Naruto's in the middle of reviewing the latest mind-numbing sheet of paper when he suddenly feels his son's distress through his ability to sense negative emotions. Worse, he can sense the chakra rapidly being drained out of Boruto. Within seconds, fully displaying the inhuman speed he's come to be known for, he reaches his son and sees what's happening. Analyzing the situation in a single moment, to avoid putting his son at risk from anything in the chamber, Naruto makes his move. A quick application of the substitution jutsu, and he takes Boruto's place while the boy lands on his ass right outside the chamber. Instantly, the seals light up brighter than they ever have, now able to feed on a chakra source greater than ever before. In just a few moments, as Naruto yells for his son to get as far away as he can, everything lights up in a blinding flash. And so, we return. Tracing the memories of its user, the jutsu attempts to reach back in time to where everything truly began going downhill. Naruto's own memories only go so far though, since he wasn't even alive when things like Rin's death and Obito's death happened. And so, instead, it defaults to as far back as it can reach, depositing Naruto on the flame-stained night that marked the beginning of his life. Under the night sky of October 10th, from nearly 30 years ago, Naruto stands on the roof of the Hokage Tower, watching in awe as his father uses the flying Raijin to redirect Kurama's Biju bomb away from the village. Unfortunately, the physical toll from literal time travel is too much for even Naruto to shrug off, and before he can do anything, his body collapses and he passes out. From there, the events of the night continue as fate intended. The village suffers Kurama's mind-controlled wrath. Obito fights Minato and loses. Minato comes back to teleport the Nine Tails away before the village is destroyed. And thus, the hour of reckoning arrives. Finally, Naruto reawakens, still off-kilter from the toll of traveling through time, but steady enough to take action. Instantly, his instinct as the Hokage and protector of Konoha kicks in, and he settles into Sage mode. Pulsing his sensory abilities, he pinpoints every single injured and trapped person throughout the village. In the same moment, he creates a legion of shadow clones, sending them out on a mass rescue mission that'll save hundreds, thousands of lives that were lost in the original timeline. At the same time, Naruto racks his memories for what he remembers of this night from when his parents spoke to him inside his seal all those years ago. Sensing his parents and his own infant self miles away from the village, he knows there's almost no time left. With a thought, he reinforces one clone and sends it in the direction of the forgotten Uzumaki clan mask storage temple at superhuman speeds. Meanwhile, the man himself locks his eyes in the direction of Kurama's chakra and disappears from view. Over at the sealing site, inside the barrier erected by Minato so that nobody can interfere, the Shinigami has been summoned. The 3rd Hokage is helpless, unable to break through the barrier even with his decades of experience and power, unable to do anything but watch as the Nine Tails claw comes down towards baby Naruto, unable to tear his eyes away as Minato and Kushina jump in its path. But instead of the squelch of flesh being torn through, a shattering sound rings out through the grassy field. And then, a booming thud. Faster than anyone there could see, except the Yellow Flash himself, the 7th Hokage arrives, flies through the barrier, and blocks Kurama's claw with a single golden glowing palm, standing above Minato and Kushina, sparing them the death blow that would have taken them from their son. Before those present can even process what just happened, Naruto turns his head back toward his parents with an apologetic look, tells them he'll explain everything once this is taken care of, and leaps upward to launch a Senjutsu and Biju chakra-infused uppercut to Kurama's maw, knocking him out. Tailed beasts don't exactly stay unconscious for long though, so he grabs Kurama and flashes into the distance so they can talk. Meanwhile, 2 clones arrive upon the scene of the sealing, one donning the Shinigami mask from the Uzumaki clan storage. With everyone else still in shock of what just happened and not wanting to risk angering someone clearly beyond them, they just observe as these clones close in on Minato and Kushina. And the night's just one life-changing surprise after another for everyone there. Because before their very eyes, the one without the mask kneels down before Kushina, places a golden glowing arm on her shoulder, and heals her. And not just physically, but all the way down to the chakra coils that were ruined from Kurama being ripped out of her. He saves her. And at the same time, the clone with the mask puts it on, causing the Shinigami to lock eyes with him with a furious expression on its face, because the Reaper knows. He knows that the one donning that mask can send him back without giving him what he's owed. The masked clone can, and does, order the Shinigami to be gone, leaving Minato's soul untouched, despite using the Reaper Death Seal. Just like that, this timeline is changed forever. The Yellow Flash and the Red Hot Habanero survive to raise their son. Konoha's losses, while still great, are immeasurably lower than they would have been without the army of Naruto clones working to save every life they can. Minato Namikaze, the 4th Hokage, now houses half of the Nine Tails, becoming Konoha's newest Jinchuriki. But what about the other half? Well, while his clone saved his parents, Naruto dragged Kurama off miles upon miles away, where he flared his 6 Paths chakra as well as all the residual chakra he still has from all 9-tailed beasts helping him back in the day. Shocked, enraged, confused, and curious all at the same time, Kurama decides to listen to what this man who feels like his father has to say. And Naruto tells him all of it. He tells him he understands Kurama. He begs his forgiveness for how humanity's treated his kind all these years. He lets the beast meet his own version of Kurama still within him, assuring him that they're together of their own free will now and not as a jailer and his weapon. And though this Kurama's still too full of hate to be an ally to humanity just yet, he's at least willing to accept the deal Naruto's offering. Live free and in peace in the lands of the summoning beasts, away from human influence and greed, and Naruto will handle the rest. The only thing he asks is to let Minato freely access the half of his chakra that he's already sealed inside himself. Luckily, with the Reaper Death Seal incomplete this time around, the free half of Kurama maintains his full consciousness, while the half with Minato is just raw chakra. With that, all that remains now is for Naruto to return to where he can feel his parents and younger self. He'll have to face them. He'll have to explain who he is, and who knows if they'll even believe him. Hell, he can hardly believe any of this himself. When he awoke, he acted on instinct, working to minimize losses and save everyone he could, because it's who he is. But now that he thinks about it, he's terrified. The things he's already done, they will change his own time drastically. What if the changes from this mean he never meets Hinata, or never falls in love with her, never gets married? Jesus. What if he goes back to his time and his children don't exist anymore? Wait, can he even go back to his own time? As his thoughts spiral, Naruto starts hyperventilating, collapsing to his knees. His ears ringing, his mind going in circles, his body trembling as he experiences a panic attack even worse than what he felt on his journey to plead with the Raikage years ago. Luckily, the newly befriended past Kurama can sense what he's feeling, and gently smacks him into a mountainside hard enough to crack the whole thing. What? Friends or not, that's just payback for manhandling the proud beast all the way here. Besides, he can take it. Sure enough, when Naruto walks out of the rubble with barely a scratch on him, he looks far calmer. While he was in there, he finally heard the voice of his own Kurama from within his seal, yelling at him to focus. Because now that he turns his sensory abilities inwards, he can feel a foreign connection within his chakra system. Whatever the jutsu embedded into that chamber in the Hokage Tower was, it's anchoring him to his own time. More importantly, nothing about his own memories or his appearance has changed in the slightest, which means his timeline must be intact. And now that he thinks about it, he and Jiraiya did some brainstorming on this back during their training trip. The old pervert loved doing thought experiments over impossible scenarios when he wasn't chasing tail. And one of the things he talked about was multiverse theory, about how potentially time traveling to the past wouldn't change one's own present, but create a whole new timeline with different events than the original. Based on what both Naruto and Kurama have as evidence, the old man was actually right about that one. That revelation changes everything for Naruto, because it means he doesn't need to stop here. Hell, he can fix everything in this timeline and give everyone he loves the lives they should have had. That anchor that the jutsu has inside his chakra system isn't just keeping him linked to his own timeline. It's also feeding off his chakra every second that he's in the past, draining him at a rate that would have already killed the average Chunin or Jonin. And with how much chakra he already used up to change tonight's events, he's almost down to half his reserves. Maybe less even, which means he can't risk any more big moves. At least not until he figures out how to follow the anchor back to his own time. Which means that now, his best bet is to place his faith in the man he trusts the most in the whole world, yet barely even knows. Obito can still be stopped. Madara's plans can be prevented from ever coming to pass. Zetsu can be captured. Nagato can be steered back from the path he's going down. The Uchiha clan doesn't have to be sidelined and silenced. Sasuke can have a happy and full life just as this time's Naruto now will. Gaara's dad can be spared Orochimaru's schemes. The boy himself can be found and his seal fixed so he can have a better childhood. Jiraiya, Neji, Konan, Itachi, all of them and so many more can live. And all he has to do is talk? Yeah, he can do that. It's time to go home and share all the knowledge he possibly can, so that thousands may be spared further loss and suffering. It's time for the 4th Hokage to meet the 7th, and for a son to finally truly meet his father. Like the 3rd time, but you get the idea.